storms are moving fast, about 35 miles per hour. You're not too far down the line from this. So looking at the debris detector, obviously this being over the water, probably not too much there, but we do have that threat of a tornado. When we look at the debris detector, that can tell us if there's any debris being lofted into the air. If there were to be a tornado touchdown, kind of detects what's not rain. And so that is what we're going to be using as a tool here, especially with this storm, which, Brooks, I would say there's a lot of rain coming down this. So if there is something, it may not be easily seen, especially from the east and from the north. From the south, possibly, we've got no rain to the south, so maybe a better vantage point. But this is a threat here, an expansive tornado warning. It goes almost to 95 to the east. Yeah, in effect in Flagler County till 1:15. So our Fox 35 storm team coverage continues here. Let's take a look at what's going on with this. This is coming right off of Lake George. So Volusia County, also northern Volusia County, now is under this tornado warning. This is between Pearson and Crescent City. And so to zoom out and give you an idea where this is pretty far north of Orlando, but this is also running into an environment that just had in the last hour a confirmed tornado up the road in St. Johns County. So there's ample spin in the atmosphere to get these going. And that was a possible big tornado with debris that was lofted up to 10,000 feet in the air up here outside of St. Augustine. More on that to follow. But right now, we're not seeing anything in the sense of debris, but there is ample rotation, and it's coming in right off of Lake George. It's going to be right here off of Highway 17. So let's zoom in to exactly where this is to give you an idea. This is near Bakerstown. If you're in Bakerstown, if you're in Hammond, seek shelter immediately. This is moving northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So it's going to be heading towards Shirley Place and St. John's Park, crossing the St. John's River inside of the next few minutes. But whenever you see this indication of red, this is right along Lake George Road. That is a very strong indication of strong rotation. That's why the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for that cell. Otherwise, let's look at some of the velocities. What we're looking for specifically in this sense is wind blowing toward the radar and wind blowing away from the radar. And in this context, that equals a rotation because the radar can only shoot in one direction. And so we're quite literally looking for a rotation. That rotation now most likely right over Lake George Road. This is going to be just east of Lake George, by the way, as you're heading toward Bakerstown and Xenia. So this is a radar indicated tornado. This tornado warning for Volusia County is in effect till 1 p.m., so for about the next 15 minutes. And as the tornado crosses over the St. Johns and gets into Flagler County and Bunnell, you're under a tornado warning till 1:15, so for the next half hour. So what should you do in a tornado warning? Well, make sure that you get to an interior room of your home or whatever structure you're in away from windows, first and foremost. Think about a safe spot, maybe a closet that you can shut the door, and then if there's any kind of flying debris, at least you're protected with that closet door. Turn up the TV so you can hear the warnings, of course, and hear when it's all clear. And that's what you do. You know, we don't have the luxury of basements here, so you want to get to an interior room away from windows. And remember that a mobile home provides very little protection in a tornado. And so in Bunnell, for instance, you've got time. There's some warning time here for you to seek shelter. And if you're in a situation like that, it's always good to look for like a cinder block reinforced building, maybe the main office or the laundry room in that kind of a situation. Again, tornado coming in off of Lake George right now, so tornado warning in effect for this corner of Volusia County until 1 p.m. west of Bakersfield. Looking for debris, we're not seeing that at this point. We did see that extensively with a thunderstorm that was in St. Johns County in the last hour, so that's good news. Hopefully this is nothing more than just a funnel cloud. Hopefully it's not touching down. As far as the triple threat goes, using our Fox 35 storm tracker radar, we're getting an indication of winds that are at least 70 miles per hour. So, Ian, what are you seeing right now? Yeah, I was going to point this out too, Brooks. We use a triple threat. It's a great tool that we have here, Fox 35 exclusive tool, and it can really tell us what is the most likely threat for a specific storm. And this isn't something we see too often, where it's showing this area in red coming off of Lake George, moving in the direction towards Bakerstown and Seville. 70+ mile per hour winds, I would say, are definitely on the table here with this storm. And obviously we are watching for that tornado threat, but regardless, there is that severe threat right now with the winds that are the most likely threat here today. So we have that triple threat showing you that there is going to be large winds regardless within this storm moving towards 17 and towards the direction of New Run into Flagler County. Now, the latest rotation, it does seem to have come down just slightly from the previous run, but given that we have a potent system, a potent storm here, I don't think that the threat is anywhere close to being over with, but it does show if there were to be anything right now, where that rotation's at. It's pretty much right over 17. So here's Hammond, there's Crescent City Station. If you go drive down southward on 17, this is likely where that threat is currently. If you live east of 17, if you live in New Run, this is an area that we will be watching as the storm travels to the east. What you should be doing right now is taking cover with this storm. This could be very quickly developing, and that threat only increases here as we go farther to the east with how strong we've seen these storms so far and how quickly they have strengthened. So just to put out to the northeast, these are moving at about 35 miles per hour. New Run, it would be over you in the next 15 minutes. Cody's Corner within the next 21 minutes. Relay within the next 25 minutes. And it will track to the northeast and likely head all the way to the coast. So even though we're just showing these areas, it could be moving towards 95 Beverly Beach, which that's actually where the camera you're seeing right now, that is showing the rain currently coming down there, but not under a tornado warning right now that where you're seeing the camera, but we'll be watching that camera. We could have a number of resources allowing us to see and look at these storms, get the best idea of what we're seeing, because obviously we're not there. We're using our radar here to detect, and the National Weather Service reports from emergency managers if anyone has seen anything, and I don't think there's been any official report yet, right, Brooks?
Right, not yet. Yep, they're just reinforcing on the chat that there's strong rotational signature over Bakerstown. Tornado warning continues, and that seems to be the name of the game here. Just to give you an update on this, this is a look at our live tracker. We're seeing what's called a couplet, a very defined area of rotation. This is going to be right over Highway 17. This whole thing's moving northeast at 55 miles an hour. So that's a very fast speed. And at that speed and direction, it's going to very quickly head over to the town of Bimini, Neoga, and Palm Coast, eventually exiting Flagler County in very short order. So now's your time to seek shelter. That's Bunnell in the camera there on the bottom left. You can also see this icon. This is our tornado wind shear icon. And whenever you see this, that indicates near certainty that we're not only seeing rotation toward the ground, but at different levels in the atmosphere. That would also indicate that we're dealing with what could be an actual tornado on the ground in this area. So let's zoom in. Again, this is going to be well north of Orlando. So Orlando, you're fine right now. We could see some wind-driven rain later. We're not seeing a debris ball at this point, which is good news, but the storm relative velocity showing the spin in the atmosphere and the overall velocity is reinforcing that, yeah, we're seeing winds here being sampled at about 80 miles an hour. And this is pretty far away from the radar site, so it may be seeing these levels of winds at about like 3,000 or 4,000 feet up. So at the ground, conceivably, it could be a lot stronger than that. So this, just to give you an idea, if you're just joining us, is a tornado warning until 1 o'clock for this northwestern corner of Volusia County. And this includes the Lake George area, just east of Lake George, and also for Flagler County, including Bunnell, until 1:15. So Ian Cassette and myself are here in team coverage tracking this with our triple threat. Here's the latest from the triple threat. 100-mile-per-hour winds now being detected on the triple threat from this radar-indicated tornado. So yes, Ian, you and I have been tracking tornadoes for years together, and as far as the radar products coming together like that, this is the first time we've seen something like this outside of a hurricane. So this gives me confidence at Bakerstown. You've likely got a tornado in the vicinity. Ian?
Yeah, I would say we've utilized triple threat plenty of times, and I'm trying to recall we've covered a number of tornadic storms, strong wind events, and this is one of the first times I believe we've shown that. So that gives us confidence. And I want to show, I know we've got a lot going on here, so I want to show what else is going on and give you that bigger picture idea here that we have plenty more action to go here. Unfortunately, we've got to work through these storms to our west that are moving through the Tampa Bay area where there's already been multiple tornado warnings. A new one just popped up just to the northwest of Tampa, and this large area, you see that large yellow polygon showing you the severe potential within this line of storms, and that's all heading towards Lake County, eventually into Orange County, Volusia County. The tornado watch itself, now the tornado potential is highest through the early afternoon. That goes until 3 p.m. up to Volusia County, Flagler County, and even Lake County. So we do have that tornado threat going into the afternoon. And right now, what we're seeing is the tornadic threat that's over Flagler County. We already earlier had a tornado warning, a warned tornado and a confirmed tornado to the north into areas north of St. Augustine. So we do have this threat that's going to continue into this afternoon for the next few hours. And I want to remind people of what to do when you are under a tornado warning. We don't get this too often, but when we do, it's really important to know what to do and where to go. So first thing, stay away from windows. You want to stay away from windows. That is not where you want to be at, is near anything towards the outside of your building. You want to get to the lowest floor if you can. Obviously, we live in Florida, so there's maybe not as many options there. And then for many of us, just get to an interior room, a bath or a closet with no windows. That will help you at least give you the best chance to stay away from where the most of the debris may be coming into your home. But get yourself into the center of your home, protect your head. If you have a helmet, that also helps, but put your hands over your head and use pillows and blankets, whatever you need to, and cover yourself, cover what's most important in your head. So we do have this ongoing threat of severe weather. Again, just to remind you, we have a tornado warning that is for Flagler County that is moving eastward. It's right over 17 is where we're currently seeing some of that rotation. But if you live anywhere from Palm Coast down to Ormond Beach, I would definitely keep an eye on this storm, as the tornado warning doesn't include Flagler Beach right now, but this storm is moving very quickly, and it has shown some signs of rotation here. And Brooks, I mean, these winds alone are going to be the big threat, which is what we've been saying, is that the winds would be the most likely threat here today.
Straight line winds, yeah.
With isolated tornadoes on the table as well.
That's exactly right, yeah. So in Orlando, a widespread straight line wind event and isolated tornadoes. We're tracking one of those isolated tornadoes right now. I want to give you an overview again. Northwesternmost Volusia County in Bakerstown. This is just east of Lake George. It's now moving ashore, and it is pushing inland at a fast rate, moving northeast at 55. Towns in the path of this include St. John's Park, the town of Bimini, also Bunnell. Bunnell, it'll be there in about 20 to 25 minutes. Bimini, you have about 12 minutes warning time on this. So that's enough time to find your safe places. Ian had described interior room away from windows. All signs, according to all of our tools using Fox 35 Storm Tracker radar, are indicating that this is a tornado, and a tornado developing fairly rapidly in this location. For perspective, just a wide view, this is going to be located about 40 miles northwest of Sanford. So this is north of Orlando, and this is south of St. Augustine, just to give you more bearings, about 40 miles. And so we are in essentially the northwestern corner of Volusia County, and this is traveling northeast at 55 miles per hour, which will place it approximately in the Palm Coast area inside of the next hour. We're looking at specifically Bunnell in about 15 minutes at that speed and direction, and Flagler Beach in about 20 to 23 minutes. So Bunnell, it would stand to reason that this will happen inside of your area as well. If we could take the touchscreen, I can show you those towns. There we go. About 23 minutes to Flagler Beach there. Okay, so let's look at our triple threat, and as far as where this storm is really pumping, the latest radar scan is suggesting that maybe it's in a bit of a you could say a cycle, where it's shown earlier a lot of strong rotation. Now it's cycling a little bit. We'll put this in motion. I'll give you an idea what I'm talking about. But the bottom line is that this cell once was showing a really tight rotation. Now it's not. So the hope here is that perhaps that rotation is floundering a little bit. We've gone from strong rotation to now a weak rotation, and that happens often with these types of storms. They'll produce big wind gusts. They'll sort of blow themselves out and then come back for more as it cycles through. So that's good news, is that's gone, but we can't let our guard down. This is Palm Coast I-95 really coming down, and Ian Cassette with me as well. And Ian, what are you seeing right now?
The winds are the main threat here. I was looking at the winds to see what we're seeing right now, and I definitely think there is still some rotation here. I would say if you live in Putnam County, that warning has been dropped for you, so Putnam County no longer under the threat from this storm, but we still are seeing some very strong winds just ahead of the storm and some broad rotation. That is the green that is toward the radar, and the red is away from the radar. Now, this is using Jacksonville's radar, so that's to our northeast, but it does show there is some broad rotation here east of Crescent City. There's Bimini, Bunnell. This is to your west. The green area you see here, the brighter greens, those are 50, 60 mile per hour winds potentially within the storm. So that is the most likely threat here, even under a tornado warning. But then we have that threat of a tornado developing, which the latest scan here, and this is good, showing you in motion, shows that it was probably, if anything, Brooks, it definitely had a better signal that was right near Bakerstown, and then that kind of has fallen apart some. But I would say that we are still seeing some rotation here with this. It just may not be as defined as it was, say, 15 minutes ago when it was over 17.
And it may be cycling. Yeah, that's one thing we got to watch out for as well. They can dip back into the clouds and come back down. Hopefully what's happening with this specific cell as we zoom out is there's a little bit of a change in the wind direction of the surface interrupting the flow. But oftentimes when you have the leading edge of a storm that has yet to impact a county, it catches a direct flow from the southeast. And that's what we're seeing at this location, thanks in part to the fact that we've got the Atlantic there. And just aloft the mid-levels, we've got a flow out of the southwest, and way up high, a flow out of the west. And so it creates that spin in the atmosphere. But sometimes when you have a tornado, you get some rain out ahead of it, kind of contaminating the air mass to the east and essentially raining into it, stabilizing it. That can cut off the flow and interrupt the flow. But we have to really remember that, I mean, this is an active tornado warning, and this could easily drop a tornado. But now you still got to be seeking shelter. We're not out of the woods yet. We'll take the loop off, show you the latest scans on this. We're still detecting winds of about 70 miles an hour coming off of the St. Johns, coming off of Lake George, heading up toward Bunnell. So at the very least, we've got straight line wind damage that would be a real possibility with this cell. We've got winds that are rotating in green from the south and in red from the north. And so where that rotation happens, the whole cloud itself is spinning, and that, like a top, can easily drop a funnel. And so Bunnell right now, this is going to be located exactly 9 miles to your southwest, and it's really going fast. It's going at 55 miles per hour to the northeast. And so when I clear this away, show you the what's called the reflectivity, where we're essentially seeing the rainfall, and I'll pop the speed on it and the direction. It should be at Palm Coast at this point in 17 minutes, so about 1:15. That's why this tornado warning in effect exists until 1:15 for Flagler County, because by then it's going to be offshore. It would be a water spout at that point. But we're now starting to see that shear marker. Yet again, that shear marker is an indication using our Fox 35 storm tracker radar that there is a growing confidence that not only are we seeing rotation, but we may be seeing an actual funnel or a tornado in this column area, which is going to be just west of Bunnell. So let's zoom in and check out some of the neighborhoods in this area. And this is going to include Black Point, Espanola, Bimini, Neoga, right along Highway 100. And as this moves northeastward, it's going to cross US 1 very quickly, County Road 13, as it makes its way toward Palm Coast. So this is a developing situation, and we've got to just check every few moments to see if in the latest scan, the rotation has tightened up yet again to prompt what could be another touchdown of a tornado. At this point, it's not the tightest of rotations, but that can change very quickly. And now that we're seeing, Ian, the shear icon, that indicates an idea of that. One more thing. Hillsborough County in Tampa has a confirmed tornado. Yep. If you want to hit that real quick.
That's why I just want to show. I know we have plenty of people have family and friends that live in the Tampa area. There was a confirmed tornado that's right now. It was a waterspout that has been confirmed to move onshore. So it's near Drew Park, moving off of the Tampa Bay area, just north of 275 and heading to the northeast. So Carrollwood, Lake Magdalene included, Egypt, Lake Toledo to 41. That's where this is, and the rotation's right here. So this is just another reminder that this atmosphere remains very favorable for that development of tornadoes here. We have had numerous reports of confirmed tornadoes and funnel clouds, and this single cell we will be watching as it tracks to the east, heading into our area in Central Florida. So this is going to be heading to the northeast through Hillsborough County, up into Pasco County, eventually into Sumter County, and we do have much more on the way. You see all these storms from along 75 are moving eastward, and this still has that threat of tornadoes. Again, Lake County included, Marion County as well, Volusia County, all under a tornado watch that goes until 3 p.m. when we do have probably the highest threat of that tornado, of tornadoes developing. But the farther east areas are going, why isn't Orlando, why is Orange County not under a tornado warning? The ingredients probably won't be as high or as favorable for the development of tornadoes by the time we get there, because the system that's attached to this front is going to be pulling away from us.
Well said. Yeah, there's a low pressure causing a lot of the spin that's making a beeline toward Ohio, while it's a tinted cold front just kind of slowly works into Florida. So we're kind of losing the dynamics as the day continues. However, one thing that is helping these storms is that the later they get here, the warmer it gets. We get that heating of the day, highs today in the 80s to around 90. So there's a lot of heat energy in the atmosphere. And as these storms encounter that heat energy, it helps with the updrafts and helps the storms get big. So if you're just joining us, we've got a Fox 35 storm alert day in progress and a tornado warning in progress for Flagler County now until 1:15. Volusia County, the storm has moved out of the county, so your safe now as far as the imminent danger goes there for northwest Volusia County. Earlier, it came off of Lake George. Now it's pushing toward Bunnell. It's going northeast at 55 miles per hour. It, at this point, is radar indicated. Earlier, it was very convincing as far as that radar signature goes for the possibility of an active tornado. At this point, we're kind of in a weird sort of on the fence moment where it's sort of cycling. And whenever you see this shear marker on our Fox 35 storm tracker radar, that is a high confidence that there is a lot of rotation at different levels in the atmosphere, which would be a lot more favorable for a tornado to touch down with little warning. So that's a look at where the rain is coming really hard, falling really hard in Bunnell. Bunnell, you've got to be seeking shelter, find an interior room away from windows, and that is going to be your best bet. As far as a look at what's going on with the rotation right now, we're going to adjust this, bring this down, and see really in the center of that circle, that's going to be in Black Point. That's going to be where our highest rotation is. It can hone in and figure out what exact road this is as it approaches Bunnell. Yeah, that exactly, Highway 100 right there in Black Point. And moving as fast as it is, it's already past West Black Point Road, and it's riding along Highway 100 at a very good clip as it pushes into Bunnell. So this is going to be moving into the US 1 corridor in Bunnell as it continues to track northwestward. So the atmosphere, very favorable for tornadoes. We've already had several confirmed tornadoes around the state, and there's a confirmed tornado right now in progress in the Tampa Bay area, as Ian Cassette was showing us, moving up toward North Tampa, New Tampa, Zephyr Hills, Wesley Chapel, spots like that. Eventually, that'll push into Sumter County if the rotation holds together. Ian?
Yeah, I will say that the National Weather Service did say that the reason why this tornado warning wasn't expanded farther to the east is that they saw this as weakening. But it's still a severe thunderstorm warning that extends. So if you're in Palm Coast, Flagler, this is still a potential for tornadoes. They're leaving a severe thunderstorm warning with potential for a tornado. Basically, their confidence isn't as high for a tornado occurring at this point, farther to the east, but still a possibility if this, as Brooks has mentioned, recycles, if we see it kind of get and gather that speed up and increase in velocity. But right now, I would say is weak rotation here around the Black Point area near Route 1. Moving to the northeast towards 95. This is still not going to be a fun storm to experience because there's been a lot of lightning within these storms, especially the areas where you see the winds coming from the west. These are probably where the strongest the storms are. The strongest the storm is right now. So there's going to be a lot of lightning with this. There's going to be some very strong winds. Severe winds up to 60-mile-per-hour winds will be possible here. So there may be some downed branches, maybe even some downed trees, some of those weaker trees coming down when you have a storm of this strength. So even if there isn't as likely of a tornado threat, the severe winds are certainly going to be that palpable threat you're going to have with the storm as it tracks eastward towards 95, towards Flagler. Within, in fact, the Flagler County Airport in the next 8 minutes, which those smaller planes that you have probably on, if they're outside the runway, you know, they're aerodynamic, so if the strong wind comes up, that can flip them over with 70 plus mile per hour winds if we do experience it with this storm moving through.
You're right, and just looking at the structure, but I can show you over here on the touch wall, the structure of that storm, which just for reference is located about 60 miles north of Orlando, so it's no threat to Orlando, although we've got a lot of storms back here west of Orlando set to bring rain to the region in the next hour. But the structure of that storm here prompting the tornado warning for Flagler County until 1:15 is such where we may be seeing some of the rotation kind of reinitializing, where we're getting a little bit more of a wraparound, and sometimes sort of like an ice skater spinning when you pull your arms and you can spin a little bit faster. These can do a quick touchdown and cause a little bit of damage. It looks like the damage done was most likely happening just east of Lake George around US 17. But as this continues its trek northeastward at a very good clip, it's going about 55 miles per hour. That's going to have it clearing the coast inside of the next 10 minutes. In fact, Beverly Beach, 8 minutes from now, that's when the back edge of this thunderstorm, which prompted the tornado warning, will exit the region. So once this clears the coast, for all intents and purposes, and it does look like in the latest scans it's starting to lose its rotational dynamics, we can put this one to bed. But until the tornado warning ends and until this area of rotation, which is right now over Bunnell, actually clears Beverly Beach and Flagler Beach, we got to be careful. So if you're on Beverly Beach and Flagler Beach, be aware, at the very least, you've got a severe thunderstorm coming your way, winds of over 60 miles per hour, maybe up to 70 miles per hour, being actively detected at this time by our radar, and there's a potential that could have a tornado associated with it. Scanning some of the winds right now approaching Flagler Beach, we're looking at widespread gusts between 40 and 50 miles per hour, and that's at the level at which the radar is scanning, which is at about this level from Jacksonville, probably 4,000 or 5,000 feet. So it's possible it could be even stronger down toward the surface. All right, Ian, what you got?
Yeah, what an electric storm
Crazy,
this is,
right?
too. Yeah, this is an extremely electric storm.
Oh, lots of lightning. Well said.
I mean, 254 strikes here. This is all pretty much just covering Flagler County. So if you live in Palm Coast, Beverly Beach, plenty of lightning coming your way as we have the storm moving eastward. The strongest winds are probably right around Bunnell right now, and that is moving eastward as well. This is moving fast. In fact, I think it's actually accelerated some now, probably moving northeastward closer to 40 to 45 miles per hour. So really strong winds here, and I'm continuing to get updates here. Just to, by the way, we're clearing some areas to the west. The tornado watch was canceled for let to expire in Gilchrist County, Alachua County as well. So we have that expired, but we continue to see severe weather and that threat of tornadoes, isolated tornadoes farther to the east. So farther west areas, you are in the clear if you are west of Marion County, but to the east of Marion County, that's where that continued threat remains here, and that tornado watch goes until 3 p.m. You're getting a lot of probably notifications coming your way with all these warnings in our area, especially with this line of storms passing through. But current threat right now, that tornado warning, which we just got the latest radar scan, shows you some strong winds just to the east of Bunnell, probably seeing those winds up to 60 miles per hour right now, Brooks. And those winds are going to be heading towards the beach right now. And after that, I think we'll settle a little bit here, but this is probably the biggest threat for the remainder of the afternoon for this area.
And we've got some beach cams up there, I think up and down the coast. We'll try and bring some of those up for you, at least by Palm Coast. Maybe there's one in Flagler Beach. But yeah, this storm's about to clear the coast. That thunderstorm warning, which became a tornado warning, is expiring here in about 5 minutes from now at about 1:15. The storm in question now has apparently left the actual tornado warning polygon, which extended to Bunnell. But we're now seeing in the latest few scans our pesky shear marker coming back, Ian. And what are you seeing now?
Well, I want to add too that so National Weather Service Melbourne is adding Seminole, Orange, and Osceola counties to the tornado watch through 3 p.m. Based on what we've seen so far, they've decided to continue that threat with the continued. What we see in Tampa Bay area, I guess it's not really much of a surprise there.
Yeah, I'll show it right here. I can zoom out. So here's the latest. Yeah, so when before Orange County, where Orlando was not included in the tornado watch, now it is. Before Osceola County, where Kissimmee is, that was not included in the watch, now it is. The one county that remains outside of the watch is Brevard County. The thinking is still that by the time these storms get down to Brevard County, that they will, for the most part, dissipate. So that's good news. But we're now under officially a tornado watch in Orlando, and that tornado watch goes until 3 p.m. And for the reason that as this squall line right now at 1 o'clock comes racing eastward, it's going to blow through here by 3 o'clock, allowing them to drop that watch. The watch meaning conditions are conducive for tornadoes. But it also means that these storms back toward the villages, Leesburg and Dade City, have a chance to become tornado-bearing thunderstorms. At this point, I don't see any sort of suggestion that that's happening, which is good news around Dade City and Zephyr Hills, the exception being over here in the Hillsborough County, Tampa area, where a confirmed tornado was reported. So to sum up why we're on TV live right now, we've got a tornado warning that's active, meaning a tornado has been detected by radar. And you can see all the lightning in those storms. That's I-95 near this storm. I mean, tons of lightning, 190 strikes in this small frame in just the last 10 minutes. This tornado warning is expiring in about 5 minutes from now. The storm in question is still producing a shear marker in our Fox 35 storm tracker radar. This marker indicates that there's wind shear, there's circulation, there's a potential this thing could drop a tornado. And examining the rotation, we're seeing broad rotation over Beverly Beach and Flagler Beach, but that's mainly because our storm is producing wind gusts that could be damaging wind gusts between 30 and 60 miles per hour right now on those beaches. That was the #1 threat with these storms, straight line wind gusts over 60 miles per hour, prompting this Fox 35 storm alert day with the possibility that we could have a couple of isolated tornadoes. So it looks like this storm is about to clear the coast. It's probably got about another 5 minutes or so. We'll put this in motion to give you an idea. This rotation, this is the storm in question. It's about to move past Beverly Beach right now, and that leads us to track the rest of the storms here, which are draped across central sections of our viewing area, including I-4 all the way back through Disney. where we're now starting to catch some of those bigger storms, and we're now starting to hear some of the thunder out there.
Those winds.
And the winds. Is that what we're hearing out there, the wind?
Yeah, I think it's the winds. And I think,
Yeah.
that's a reminder for some people that you're going to be getting some stronger wind gusts today, just like we saw last week, and then the rain.
Yeah, I'm hearing that right now.
So we're in the rain, Lake
wind
Mary.
and rain.
Yeah, wind and rain. Yeah, you're going to be getting some winds regardless of storms today, of 40+ mile/per-hour wind gusts. But within these storms, that's where the strongest winds will be found. But just as a reminder, now that we have a new update here to the tornado watch. If you live in Orange County, you are now under that tornado watch until 3 p.m. today. Seminole County was added and Osceola County was added. These are areas that will continue to monitor this line of storms as it moves eastward. A reminder that this is still an isolated tornado threat, but we have seen a healthy number of storms show rotation here, especially the ones that moved onto the Gulf Coast. And we had a number of waterspouts reported, but also up in Flagler County, we've seen that rotation. Farther north, St. Johns County, seeing that rotation within these storms. So that's until 3 p.m. Those areas that are in the clear now, Alachua County, Levy County, and westward, you can rest easy for the rest of the day. The severe threat is to your east. But those still under that tornado watch, we are going to continue to track these storms as they continue to move eastward. Now, they are going to let this tornado warning in Flagler County expire, so the tornado threat is unlikely at this point, or at least not as likely, but still severe winds are possible within this storm moving towards the coast. Farther to the south in the greater Orlando area, we're getting the rain right now. This is not a severe thunderstorm warning moving into Orlando and into western Orange County near Lake Apopka. Not severe, but there is a severe warning that continues all the way up into Sumter County along 75, and that is what we're going to be watching here as it moves eastward. If there were to be a tornado warning in, say, Lake County, in Claremont, or say in Winter Park today, it would be from this line that is moving east that has already caught or has already resulted in multiple tornado warnings here this morning. But you can tell there's nothing behind this. It's clear off in the Gulf, and this is that front passing through Brooks. So we've got a little bit more work here to go here. It is, of course, 1:13, and thank you for staying safe and informed here with us. But we are going to continue to track these storms for that tornado threat here through this afternoon.
We can look forward to those tornado watches being whittled away as this line comes through, but we've got another couple hours of it. It's telling that the National Weather Service has just included Orange County and Seminole County in the tornado watch. They're saying that, you know what, conditions are now favorable for tornadoes. Based on what we're seeing, it's warmed up. We've clearly got wind in the atmosphere that is favorable for rotation in these storms, and we're on the last 1 minute now of a tornado warning that had been issued for Flagler County for a storm that's now moved offshore and is no longer a threat, but which did produce what could have been an actual tornado just east of Lake George, tracking over Highway 17. So we'll wait to hear if there's any damage from that. And right now there's an active tornado warning in Hillsborough County over by Lake Magdalene, which is near Zephyr Hills, confirmed tornado from a waterspout coming ashore. So there's a lot of rotation going on. As far as this goes, we're under a severe thunderstorm warning up and down the I-75 corridor. That does include Sumter County up through the Villages area. This is where we could see winds gusting well over 60 miles per hour in storms, and getting the latest wind speeds to give you an idea. And also we might be seeing a little bit of rotation here south of Bushnell, Ian, so we'll keep an eye on that one together. But the latest on this one is that we've got winds of about 80 miles an hour being detected by radar in southern Sumter County at an elevation of probably 2,000 feet above the ground, which means that at the surface we could easily be catching wind gusts over 60 miles an hour. So that tells me that not only is this a severe storm, but we could be seeing with this a rotation right here. Let's get a look at our storm relative velocity. I'm looking at the big board to see if there's a new warning on that. There isn't yet, but this would be for, if it's issued, heads up Sumter County. This would be for Sumter County south of Bushnell near Webster, of a possible tornado developing right now in front of our eyes. And this is going to be right along 98 on the border of Pasco County and Sumter County. Let's see, I'm going to zoom out, make that Hernando County and Sumter County. right now. So here we are, storm tracking mode. There's not a tornado warning in effect at this moment. That could change in a moment. We got a severe thunderstorm warning. Special weather statement issued with this cell indicating that indeed we may be seeing something trying to form in this location. You're watching meteorological analysis in real time. This is what we do. We're looking for any signs of rotation. And indeed now our Fox 35 storm tracker radar is honing in on one spot that could be a possible rotation in progress. At the very least, this is a slowly rotating thunderstorm. One saving grace from this becoming an all-out tornado situation is that there is some thunderstorm activity down here on I-4, which essentially is going to cut off the inflow from any kind of a serious pure air mass feeding into the storm. And that occlusion, if you will, should limit the rotation, but there may be enough wind energy in the atmosphere to lead to a brief tornado there in southern Sumter County. At least we're getting half-inch hail. So that is the latest from the big wall. Ian, what are you seeing on your side?
Now, I'm pointing this out that these are probably not the winds occurring down at the surface. This is coming from Tampa Bay's radar and looking to the northeast. So here's Pasco County, there's Linden, and into Sumter County and south of Webster, where we are seeing at least some signals for some very strong winds. Now, again, this is a few thousand feet up probably because the angle of the radar, the beam it sends up, it's not flat, it's at an angle, so it's looking up into the storm. But that tells us there are some very strong winds, which we knew that. That's why that severe threat with the tornadoes was present today. We have high levels of wind shear. Essentially, the winds are increasing rapidly with height above us, and that is what's leading to this threat. So there is likely strong winds that are coming down right now within this storm, moving into Sumter County, or rather into Lake County and Sumter County here. So here's Sumter County, here's Lake County. So it's kind of that small window up there of Sumter County on the south end, and then Linden into Lake County. So that's where the strongest winds are felt right now. And if you live in Lake County, I would say we're going to continue to pay attention here to the winds. And we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning there in Hillsborough County. So that line of severe thunderstorms, it's tracking eastward and moving into more of central Florida, into our area outside of the Tampa area. And we do have a tornado watch until 3 p.m. It doesn't mean every storm is going to produce a tornado, but it does mean that these storms have that capability of rotation, which we have already seen.
And you're right, this is at about 4,000 feet. So I just ran the calculation on it. The distance from the Tampa radar to southern Sumter County, it's scanning at 4,000 feet. So those 80-mile-per-hour gusts probably aren't reaching the ground, but still could be a 60-mile-per-hour gust. We're going to watch that also for the possibility of a tornado developing. At this point, at this moment in time at 1:18, at this hour, we are free of tornado warnings. We've got a tornado watch in effect till 3 p.m. And if anything does pop up at any time, you'll be the first to know right here. But in the meantime, from the Fox 35 Storm Center, we're going to return you to your regularly scheduled programming. But just know we've got our team in place ready to let you know if the weather gets bad. Be sure to have the Fox 35 Storm Team app. It's free, and it'll push alerts right to your phone when real-time weather gets really nasty.